long time ago in a galaxy not so far away.
Welcome to a new podcast that we are calling In a Galaxy Not So Far Away. I think that's the name we're going to go with, yeah?
I like that. Yeah, that's a solid name.
Yeah, hopefully, since you are listening to this, that is the name of the podcast, and we scored that. So, so this is just going to be a Star Wars podcast. It's about me. I'm Cody. I host many other podcasts on this network, and this is my associate, I guess, Brendan Long.
Yes, that is me. I've been a guest on several of your podcasts.
Yeah. So we decided to start our own podcast, and since we, always kind of end up talking about Star Wars anyway, I figured why not start a Star Wars podcast and dedicate our time to Star Wars.
I mean, why not? We got nothing but time right now.
Yeah. And I guess just for a little, information, like why I wanted to start this podcast is I was wanting to watch through the whole Star Wars universe anyway, and I thought, why not talk about it as well?
Yeah, I've been looking for an excuse to kind of go through it as well, and this allows me to kind of examine, the movies and the shows a little bit more in depth as well,
Yeah, because there's nobody that I know who likes to talk about Star Wars to the degree of depth that me and you get into it.
100%, yeah. I think it's a good opportunity. Plus, it gives us something to do that's not just, hanging around during the middle of the pandemic. So I think it's a good use of time.
Yeah, for sure. I guess just because this is the first episode, I guess maybe just give why do you like Star Wars, Brendan? What is it about Star Wars that kind of attracts you?
I think the thing that I like about it the most is, frankly, the fact that it's it's kind of like samurais and knights, but in the future, I think Cooper is in our channel right now, by the way. But yeah, it's basically just samurai knights in the future. I love the idea of the mysticism behind it. I think it's just such a cool concept. And the thing that I think I like the most is the massive amount of deep diving into the lore that people can do, and that in the fan community surrounding it is phenomenal. Like, people make up universes, and it's just wicked.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that, though. Star Wars is kind of it takes your kind of classic medieval story and kind of puts it into space, You have Jedi Knights, they're your knights, and you have there's sword battles, and there's also magic, but it's all set in a futuristic alien universe,
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the magic isn't, I don't know, it's not like the Force can do or solve any problem. There are some limitations, although I think the limitations are limited. And I think having those bounds on the universe makes it, I don't know, just a little bit more believable, despite the fact that it's wizards in space.
Yeah, with laser swords.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I've been a fan of, are you, I'm sure, but I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was a kid, since the first time I watched the first trilogy,
Yeah, I don't even know how many times I've seen the first trilogy. One of my earliest memories is being at my grandparents' house, and my uncle, when he lived there, when he was 15, 16, whatever, and I was just a kid, he had the trilogy on VHS, and it was one of the things I would watch over and over and over again while we were there.
Yeah, same here. We had the trilogy on VHS, and it was just so many times watched through.
Mm-hmm. I literally had no idea about any of the storyline when I was that young, you know what I mean? I knew Luke was good, Darth Vader was bad, he was his dad, Spoilers for anyone. But like, I don't think I fully understood it. And then kind of growing up with it, you understand more and you get deeper into it. And, you know, there's more and more IP being created. And I don't know. It just, the universe keeps growing and in such a good way.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And then, yeah, it seemed like this is like its third reboot now, pretty much. Because, like, you know, you have your original trilogy, and then you have the prequels, and now you have, like, it's like, obviously there is a want and a need for Star Wars content.
Yes, exactly. And, I think despite how badly companies continue to butcher the main movies, which maybe you agree with me on that, maybe you don't, but there are some shitty main movies. Besides the original trilogy, there's always going to be a demand for it, regardless, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and there's so much stuff that you can like go off of. You know, like you have your Solo movie, and you have the Mandalorian now, which, you know, is like in the Star Wars universe, but it takes away like the Jedi magic from it a little bit, you know what I mean? So,
But I think the Mandalorian is the best Star Wars IP since, I don't even know, like forever.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you.
Probably the original movies, actually.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get into that. But
We will.
So basically, what we're kind of doing with this podcast is we're going to go through, basically the Star Wars content in order of like how it happens in the world. So not release order, but how it happens in the world.
Yeah, like story, the chronological story order.
Yeah. So not publication order, chronological order. Yeah. So we're starting off with the Phantom Menace.
So I think both of us had a bit of a hard time trying to find the time to watch the movie. I know I did. My lord, this movie's terrible. I don't know if you feel the same way as me or not, but oh man, this movie is brutal. And I was kind of hoping coming into it that it was going to be better than what I thought the memes had made it out to be, because like that's kind of how I see it now, is through all the memes on subreddits and people posting stuff about it all the time, you know, and it like casts it in a more positive light. But watching it again, I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. But 6-year-old me loved it. Oh
yeah. I used to love this movie. Like when it first came out and stuff, I loved the Phantom Menace. Like pod racing was so cool and all of it. Jar Jar Binks. I used to love Jar Jar Binks.
Oh yeah, man. Me too. And like I think that maybe the original idea when it was released was to kind of capture a new audience, which it really did in a way. Like I loved it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. Watching through it again, it's just like, it makes me sad or makes me kind of feel old, because you realize that, like, yes, adults can appreciate these movies, but they are primarily for children. At least like this one is, I feel like, you know?
Definitely. And that became, but it's so weird because like, I have this written down in my notes when I was watching the movie while kind of trying to work, and like, it's weird because if it's directed towards children, why the hell are they talking about like trade blockades? Like, what kid is going to understand a trade blockade on a planet and how that's going to affect the planet? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, because yeah, like. I watched through it this time, and I like definitely picked up on some stuff that was like, I had no idea what they were talking about when I was a kid, you know?
Yes, 100%.
But yeah, it's like trade blockades, but then like you have like the fart humor. Like there's just one scene that's really specific coming to my mind is when they're pulling the pod racers with those giant animal things, and the animal farts, and Jar Jar Binks just like looks at it, and he's like, it's just like a fart scene, and that's all it is, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, why did that need to be in there?
100%. It's so weird, because there's like a strange contrast between these kind of like, what I'm assuming they're trying to make is like a high-minded kind of political stakes drama thing, and then you have Jar Jar Binks and fart jokes, and it's like, what is happening here? You know?
Yeah, it's like a weird mishmash for sure. Like but maybe that was the intention. And like honestly, hey, it's difficult to make a movie that both children and adults can appreciate. And
I think that there's only one company that does it reliably, and that's Pixar. To be honest.
Oh yeah, Pixar nails it every time. Like
100%.
Like I don't think I've seen a Pixar movie where I was like, I hated that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, what else was I going to say? One of my notes here is whenever Annie says yippee, I want to fucking punch him. And like,
oh god,
it's so annoying.
I know.
I was watching it and I'm like, who let this get into the final cut of the movie? Like, my lord.
Yeah, who wrote this script? Honestly, like I was talking to Tiara yesterday about it as we were watching it, but like what I said is like this movie introduces some of the coolest characters, but also some of the worst at the same time. Like,
for sure, totally agree with that.
Yeah, you have like Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul, who are some of like, honestly, in my opinion, they're some of the best characters in the whole franchise.
I think Darth Maul's one of the best villains. I mean, maybe just below Darth Vader, in my opinion.
Well, he's got it all. He looks scary. He's got a fucking cool lightsaber. I think he has like 4 lines in the movie total, but
yeah, it's nothing. But when he fights, like when he first shows up, when they're on Tatooine and they're about to fly away or whatever, like that's so cool. He just shows up out of nowhere, fights with the one lightsaber, and then like the iconic scene where he goes to fight Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and he shoots his lightsaber out one side, and then the other side comes out. I remember as a kid, and even now, that still gives me goosebumps, you know?
I love it. Like, the staff lightsaber became, like, one of my favorite things about Star Wars ever.
It still is one of my favorite things about Star Wars. Like, anytime I play a game, and I have the option to have a staff lightsaber, do it all the time. Or double. I like the dual lightsabers, too, but...
Yeah. We've had this argument many, many times, but I'm staff all the way, all the time, so...
Mm-hmm. I know, and I'm dual, definitely. Question, has Tiara seen it before?
Yeah, she watched it again, like as a kid, right? But she kind of watched it from a different perspective because she wasn't so involved in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it was a movie that came out and that was it for her, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, at the time when it came out, that was it for me too. Like it was like, yeah, cool, Star Wars, but it was still like I wasn't so involved in the universe as I am now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. What did she think about it watching it again?
Well, I mean, we kind of were laughing at the same things, and yeah, like to be honest, she has very similar opinions to me. She really liked the underwater thing. She just thought that was like cool, you know, like the way that they go into the Gungan city.
I really liked that, and I always thought that was super cool as a kid.
Yeah, for sure. And the way they have to like go through the center of the planet and they get chased by those like giant sea monsters and creepy things. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a bigger fish. Classic line.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, that was good. But like
sorry, go
like I was just going to say, like I said, like you have some of your best characters, but you also have some of your worst, and I just hate with a passion Kid Anakin. Like I think he's one of the worst characters ever introduced into the series.
Yeah, apparently, I heard that, like, all the flack that he got after playing Kid Anakin, like, made him never want to be an actor again. Because it was so bad.
That's totally fair. Star Wars fans can be fucking brutal.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's like any fandom, right? Like, you know, people they lose their minds over these fake worlds that they love, which I get. You know, I understand in a certain sense, but yeah, I hate Kid Anakin too, frankly.
Yeah, Yeah, like just every time he talks, I hate the words that come out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's a yippee, man. Yippee drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, and I get it. He's a kid, and most kid actors are really bad, but it's just like everything he says is so. It just seems so like staged and fake, and just like I don't know, forced and dumb, and it just really bothers me.
It kind of felt that way with Padme for me too, to be honest. Like some of the lines that Natalie Portman would say, I'm like, it sounds like she's talking to nothing, you know? Like,
Yeah,
they just weren't very good. I always felt that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But Padme was, I don't know, just not great in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I don't know if it was like a stylistic choice. Like I very much doubt that it was, but maybe it was just because she's like Queen Amidala and she's kind of like supposed to kind of be stone faced a little bit. But it just
Yeah,
seems
like above it all kind of thing.
Yeah, but it just seems like a lot of times when she's delivering her lines, it's just like blank.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. Like just like she wasn't talking to anybody or just completely stone faced. It was, I don't know, it was just strange.
Yeah, yeah. But like even talking about that, like this movie had some like huge names in it. Like you have Natalie Portman and you have it's Liam Neeson, right, who plays
Liam
Qui-Gon.
Neeson was in friggin' Schindler's List. Like he's a legit actor, man. You know?
Yeah, he's huge.
And same with what's his face, the guy who plays Qui-Gon, or not Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan.
Oh, Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor or whatever.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor. He's a great actor too, right? Like you said, there's some massive names, but maybe it was a script issue. I don't know. I think George Lucas is not a great writer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it kind of like it feels like they were trying to deliver too much kind of information and like new information to kind of like justify making the movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. Like again, the trade blockade and the Senate and all that kind of stuff. Like in the end, the ultimate story is really about Anakin becoming Darth Vader throughout the three movies, right? And I think that's the main focus, and all the other stuff kind of felt really peripheral and like it didn't have that much impact, especially on this one, even though it drives a lot of the conflict. I don't know. That's just how I felt about it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like, because like, the whole Trade Federation and like the battle droids and stuff, it's like, it's kind of weird. I was actually thinking about this yesterday when I was like kind of watching through it again, but like, it's weird that, the Empire, Palpatine, is like, he's controlling like the Trade Federation, but like his ultimate goal is to, take control of the like Republic commandos and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because like maybe in this movie that wasn't his goal, but it's just like weird. He's like kind of playing both sides a little bit.
But I mean, if you think about it, that's a genius move on his part because he can, like, I think underneath it all, there is a really neat kind of political drama thing going on that creates the circumstances by which Palpatine becomes Palpatine and like the Emperor, right? But I don't think it's like as well explored as it should have been in order to make it feel more pertinent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And maybe that's just because, they made the movie and all this other content didn't exist. So you couldn't look back on it and be like, well, why did he do that? Knowing what we know now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. The guy who played, on a side note, the guy who plays Palpatine is phenomenal. Love that guy. That guy's the best.
Oh, yeah. He's creepy as fuck.
He is creepy as fuck. And he, like, that performance stays consistent throughout all the movies,
Yeah, yeah. And actually, again, just talking about kind of like looking back on things, when you see the Empire for the first time, or the Emperor for the first time, you can totally, like, again, knowing what I know now, you can totally tell that it's Palpatine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
But like, at the time, you have no idea.
I mean, Yeah, no, you don't have any clue at all. I mean, you can somewhat tell based off his voice, right? But and I don't know if they were really trying to keep it a full on secret or not. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what the goal was there. Really?
Yeah, no, totally.
I was going to talk about like some of the positives because there are a few in my opinion for sure. Number one being the music. The music is phenomenal.
The music is always phenomenal.
It is. It is. Well, I found in the sequels it wasn't as good, but I mean it's always a top tier situation.
I definitely agree. Like, I was just gonna say, like, the music, the orchestral feel that, like, Star Wars has a sound, and you can tell when you're listening to music that is from the movies Star Wars.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And whoever I can't remember the name of the composer guy, but that guy's a genius.
Yeah. I mean, the movie definitely has positives, like battle droids. I think battle droids personally are really cool.
I would agree. I totally agree with you. I love the battle droids. I actually quite like the Gungans and the city and how they kind of interact with the native, well, not native, but the Naboo people. I thought that was really cool. I don't like Jar Jar. He's a downside for that, but I do think that was really cool. And you know what I was surprised about? I thought that the CGI was going to be like absolutely brutal, and it's pretty bad, but it's like it's better than I thought it was going to be given the age of the film.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, yeah, you can definitely tell, like, especially with the first time you see Jar Jar Binks, and he like wraps around Qui-Gon Jinn, you're like, oh, that's pretty shoddy. But like, given the age of the film, exactly what you said, it's actually really good.
And I think being a kid when I first watched that blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, and also like a thing that like all the Star Wars movies do really well, no matter what age they are from, like even like the space scenes are always just top notch.
Oh, they're always wicked. Actually, I have that in my notes. Like the fighters and the space scenes and like the droid sort of like command ship thingies, those like circle command ship thingies. I thought that they were super cool. The droid tanks are really, really cool. Like though, like you said, the whole droid army was just neat.
Yeah, it's a cool like enemy to have, and like the droidicas, like come on, droidicas are tight.
Yeah, the droidicas are sick. I always used to love playing as them in Battlefield because you could just mow people down.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, that was such a fucking good game. Battlefront 2. Oof.
I know, unbelievable.
I love that game so much.
Me too. I spent so much time playing it. I haven't played the new ones really though.
No, me either. Because they're not as good.
No, exactly. But yeah, droidicas are super sick. You know who I really liked as a character actually was Sebulba. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I did too. Yeah, he was a cool alien, like kind of like a monkey type alien, but weird
just
and
unique design, and he's such an asshole, but like kind of cool.
Yeah, totally.
And the pod racing was super sick. Big fan of the pod racing, personally.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you. I was like, so what do you think about like the pod racing and them introducing this like whole other thing into Star Wars?
Okay, so I think that the concept of it is really cool. I think that I almost wish they would have explored it in other movies in a way because I don't know. I just like I remember the scene being fairly tense when the races are happening and you see like the pods exploding and people flying all over the place. Like I really enjoyed that. I did.
Oh yeah, and like I mean they made a freaking N64 game based solely around the pod racing. You know what I mean?
Which I wish they would make a remake or a remaster for because it was the best.
Yeah, it was a fucking sick game for sure.
Did you enjoy watching the pod racing scene again?
No, I did actually. I actually quite enjoyed it. It's still it's a good scene in the movie. Like you said, it is kind of like it's tense with like kind of Qui-Gon betting at the start and being like, "Yo, this guy's a Jedi. I want him." And I forget Greedo, I think his name is.
What the hell's his name? No, Greedo's the guy that hand shoots.
Oh yeah.
What? I can't remember his name.
No, me either. But like they're like, like it adds that like extra element to it and stuff like that.
Yeah, one thing I wish that they kind of would have explored more in further movies again was, remember when Qui-Gon tried to use the Jedi mind tricks on that guy?
Yeah.
And it just didn't work?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's up with that?
Yeah, like it'd be cooler if they like had more of those, or maybe like kind of explored like why don't Jedi mind tricks work on this one race?
Yeah, like, what's up with that? That would have been super interesting.
Yeah,
His name was Watto. I just looked it up.
Watto. Okay, yeah. It ends with an O.
Well, yeah, you're close enough. One of the things I thought was kind of weird was like the fact that Anakin's mom told Qui-Gon that it was like a virgin birth, like a Mother Mary type situation. I was like, is that really necessary?
Yeah. And this is coming full circle to the thing that I wanted to get into, that I discovered this time around watching that I hadn't before. But when Qui-Gon is in front of the Jedi Council and he's explaining to them just like Anakin's deal, he's like, I believe that it was like a midichlorian birth, that the midichlorians essentially impregnated this woman and virgin birth Jesus type thing. I was like, that is fucking stupid. Like,
that is so dumb.
Like, it's the one thing that I've never caught before, but I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. That is so fucking stupid. Like,
I can tell you, I definitely didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's standing in front of the Jedi Council and he's like explaining to them. He's like, yes, the midichlorians, I'm totally paraphrasing here, but like essentially he's like saying that the midichlorians are responsible for Anakin's birth. And it's like, what the fuck?
What are you even talking about? Like, who writes that and decides that's a good thing? Like, it would have been just fine to have him be born to like a deadbeat dad, or have his dad be dead, or something like that. You know what I mean? And it might have actually provided more opportunities for kind of character growth along the way, but instead he's this immaculate conception type thing, and it's like, okay, what?
Yeah. And I feel like you would have so much more story opportunity too if you provided some sort of context to a father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just keep that daddy issue train going down all the way to Luke, right?
Yeah, exactly. But instead you I don't know, stop it there, or it's a weird start to the whole thing.
I think the idea behind it was like, oh, this kid is so powerful, so special, that the Force just made him be, and instead it just comes across as like a weird Christ analogy, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what I thought. Again, the first time when they're like, it was a virgin birth, there was no father, but then also with the whole like weird midichlorian thing.
It's strange. Super strange.
Yeah.
Someone really should have checked George Lucas's writing and like not been a yes man about it and been like, bro, this is kind of weird. We don't need this.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, honestly, the whole introduction of the midichlorian thing was silly to begin with.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's arguably one of the most contentious issues across the Star Wars fandom, right? Is like, well, it's not even contentious. Everybody hates it. Because it's like, why did you have to make the Force into this thing that's basically bacteria making the Force? Like, what was the point of that,
Yeah. Why did you have to make it some sort of tangible thing that can be found in Jedi blood? Why couldn't it just be like this, like, Force? Why couldn't it just be a Force? It's called the Force.
It's in the fucking name, dude. Like, just call it the Force, and it's like this crazy mystical magic thing, and that's fine. We're already flying around in spaceships. People have accepted that. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we have spaceships, we have laser powers. You don't need to explain why the Force works. Like,
well, and it's not like we needed to know that Annie had such powerful midichlorian, such a large midichlorian count in order to make it reasonable for Qui-Gon to take him back, because we already know that he's super force sensitive, one, based off Qui-Gon Jinn sensing him, and two, based off of his performance in the pod racing.
Yeah, exactly. It even says he's the only human who can do it. Like, that obviously makes him special, right?
Yeah, and he's, he can make a robot, and he's like 6 years old, whatever. Like, there's no need for the midichlorian thing. It just added an extra layer of ridiculousness for no reason, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, also, like, it wasn't just Qui-Gon who could sense Annie. It was also Obi-Wan, that before they go on to Tatooine, they're like, I sense a great disturbance in the Force,
Yeah, exactly. It's strange. It's super strange. Like,
yeah.
Why do that, right?
Yeah. Actually, while we're kind of like, while we touched on pod racing a bit, I had this thought while I was watching the movie, and like Jabba the Hutt kind of like comes on, he's like, it's the Hutts are this big deal and they control all these planets. But you look at fucking Jabba the Hutt, and it's like, what is so special about this fucking giant slug that makes it so people don't just fucking kill him and like not be under Jabba the Hutt's rule? You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great question, and again, something I wish they kind of would have explored more, because they do that in other games, right? Like in what's it called? Knights of the Old Republic, the first one, you deal with the Hutts. And it's kind of, they implicate them to be like crime lords, like the other Hutts in is it Empire Strikes Back, I think, that he's in? Or
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, thank you. Like, it's made clear that he's a crime lord there, and then they kind of have him involved in this one, or one of the Hutts involved in this one. I wish they could kind of go into, like, what makes them so special. Are they super smart? Like, why do they control all the crime? Maybe that's too much, but...
Yeah. But like, it's just something that like maybe in the like, if they would continue the Solo the movies, we would find out about it. But yeah, I would just like to know, because like there's nothing extraordinary about them. It seems like they're just giant slugs, and it's like, why doesn't somebody just come in and be like, you're just a fucking giant slug, I'm gonna be better than you? Like,
yeah, I'm a cap you. Princess Leia does that. She kills the Hutt, like she chokes him with the chain.
Yeah, no problem. Like,
easy peasy, I know.
Yeah, so it's just like, it was something that I was thinking about when I was watching this. It's like, what makes this fucker so special? Like,
on the note of the Solo movie, yeah, I wish they would have continued that. We'll get into that obviously at another podcast, but I think that would have been the perfect opportunity to explore the Hutts a little bit more.
Oh yeah, and like, also, like, I'm so mad that they just drop Darth Maul at the end of the Solo movie, and they're like, okay, but we're not making any more, sorry.
Yeah, we're never making another one of these ever again. Sorry about that. The coolest villain in the one of the coolest villains in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, and you bring him back, and he's got robot legs, but nah, it's fine.
Well, apparently they cover that in the TV series, and I think it's part of the extended universe, so we'll get to see that a little bit, but, why tease us like that, man?
Yeah. That's the thing that I'm also excited about with this podcast is, I honestly, other than like The Mandalorian, I haven't really delved too much into like the TV series that exist out there for Star Wars. So
no, me neither.
Yeah. So like, I know that they're like mostly cartoons and stuff, but I'm still really excited to like just get like, more Star Wars in my life.
Hey, I love cartoons. I rewatch Avatar like once a year. So
Avatar is what, like, holy fuck, Avatar is one of the greatest cartoons in the entire world. So
I know. Even Amanda loves it. She was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." I'm like, yes, yeah. It is.
Yeah. But we just on a side note, like me and Tiara and Tim, Tim.
Yeah.
We're actually planning on doing an Avatar podcast.
Oh, nice. I would actually join in on that. I legitimately, if you're looking for like a guest person every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Because like, like there's so much to explore, and it's such a good TV show, and it's like, it's kind of like Star Wars. It's like, yeah, sure, it's like maybe intended for kids, but there's so many like adult themes to it that like kids just wouldn't get,
Avatar accomplishes like what this movie I think was maybe trying to accomplish. you know,
Yeah.
or this series of movies, right? Like, Avatar covers super adult themes. It's like kind of funny. It's dramatic. There's, you know, major character arcs and character changes that are super significant. And like Star Wars 100% accomplishes a lot of that stuff, but not to the same, you know, effect or same level of accomplishment that Avatar did in my mind.
Yeah, no, totally. I guess like the cool thing, I'm like I didn't see this movie in the theaters, and I was a kid, so even if I did, it wouldn't have like had the same effect on me. But like I feel like, you know, like the first time that R2-D2 is introduced, people probably lost their mind in the theaters. Or the first time that like Obi-Wan is called Obi-Wan, I'm sure you know, like, do you remember seeing The Force Awakens and like fucking when Han Solo and Chewie first come on screen and people just lost their minds?
Yeah, people were cheering 100%. I have a feeling that's what it was like when they were first released, but I also think like with The Last Jedi, people walked out of the movie and they were like, I liked that, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, totally.
But yeah, I think the hype train going into any Star Wars movie is always crazy, right?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, yeah, no, 100% it is. And like the only one of at least the new trilogy that kind of lived up to that hype for me was The Force Awakens, like the very first one that they released.
100% agree. I totally agree. I almost wish The Force Awakens was a little bit longer, but we'll get into that again when we watch the movie.
Yeah, when we talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I noticed was for being slaves, Annie and his mom, I can't remember her name, Annie and his mom, they have a pretty good life.
Yeah, they do. They got like a pretty nice house. Like they got food.
It's cushy.
Yeah.
They got food. They have time for leisure activities. Annie's building a friggin' pod racer. He makes droids. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem so bad to me.
No, he has enough money to build a pod racer and a protocol droid.
Mm-hmm. Not so bad.
And obviously a really solid protocol droid because C-3PO is literally in every single fucking Star Wars movie.
Every single one. Every single one.
Yeah.
Is he in Solo? I don't remember him being in Solo.
No, sorry. He's only in like every single one of the main trilogies. And I think he might be in Rogue One, but I'm not sure.
I think he was in my mind. Because maybe not. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, like the slave life under Watto, not too bad.
Yeah, no, it seemed pretty good.
I mean, sure, you're not free and you don't have choices to do anything, but that's all incidental. You live in a nice house with decent food and things are pretty chill for the most part.
Yeah, you get to pod race, like fucking jeez.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to talk about the kind of last third of the movie, like the climax.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm gonna go start with positives. Number one, the lightsaber fight between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. One of the greatest lightsaber fights of all time.
Definitely agree.
With in combination with the soundtrack of that fight, like that one song, I get that song stuck in my head all the time. I could just be like on my run or whatever, and I'll be like, da, 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 you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, definitely one of the greatest like lightsaber fights in the entire series for sure. Because like 2v1 staff lightsaber, like there's that iconic image of, you know, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on either side of Darth Maul, and he's like defending both of them off. You know what I mean? Amazing. Yeah, so good. So good.
The scene where they're going into like that, I don't know what it is, where the giant shaft is, where Qui-Gon eventually gets killed and Darth Maul gets chopped in half.
Yeah.
Where they're both leading into it, and there's like these power generator shield thingies kind of stopping them from going in.
Yeah. And
I thought it was really cool how they had both of the Jedi kind of sit down. Actually, I don't remember if Obi-Wan sits down, but I think Qui-Gon sits down and starts to meditate while waiting for the shield to come down, and Darth Maul's just like pacing back and forth angrily. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it kind of shows the contrast between the Sith and the Jedi, right?
Yes, exactly.
You know, because like the Jedi they don't allow their emotions to get the better of them, even when they are in the heat of battle, whereas the Sith operate on anger and like hate and fear and stuff like that.
Exactly, and he's like smashing, or he's trying to smack at those force fields with his lightsaber to like put them down, and Qui-Gon's just chilling. Like I love that. I thought it was so cool.
Oh yeah. And then like as soon as it's down, he's just like in it and his lightsaber comes out and they're battling again. It's so fucking cool.
And then seeing Obi-Wan watch his master die while the shield is up or whatever, like I thought that was really cool too. I mean, I feel bad for him, but
yeah. And honestly, that's kind of that would have been probably kind of like a little bit of a throwback to the original, like to A New Hope, you know, like Luke watches Obi-Wan die.
Exactly. That could have very well been a throwback, actually. That's a really good point.
Yeah, like it's like both of them, like both of these great Jedis watched their masters die and be slain by like the ultimate bad guy at the time.
I guess it's the same thing with Rey and Han Solo and Ben.
True.
You know? There's that famous quote from George Lucas where he's like, it's just loops. Looping over again on themselves. I mean, the same story beats over and over and over again, which works. Like, it works, you know?
Yeah, and that's what the people want, too. Like
Exactly. Don't mess with the formula. The formula is good.
Yeah. And honestly, I will say that, like, I really liked the battle between, like, the Gungans and the droid army.
Yes, me too.
Like I like the technology that the Gungans have. You know, those little like balls that if they hit the droids, they just fuck them up and shit like that.
I love that. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's like kind of like because everybody has, you know, everybody in Star Wars has laser guns mostly, but the Gungans are operating on this like weird kind of cool technology that's like almost kind of like it's probably considered ancient in the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean?
But they're making it work.
Yeah, and they're just like fucking up droids with like these big energy balls or whatever they are.
The Gungan King, I don't remember his name.
No,
I don't even know if they really mention it, frankly. But the Gungan King, I really liked him as a character, even though I couldn't understand shit of what he was saying. Like I loved him as a character. I don't know why. I just really liked him.
I mean, it's because he does that thing with his face.
Yeah. And when he laughs, he's like so happy. He seems like Santa Claus, kind of, but also angry at Jar Jar, which I think we all are, you know?
Yeah, well, totally fair. Jar Jar's a fucking dingus.
He is a fucking dingus.
Like, he is the worst.
He is.
We can't talk about... I don't think we can talk about this movie without kind of like going into like the Darth Jar Jar theory a little bit.
I was gonna bring that up actually. So, yeah, the thing that I like about the Darth Jar Jar theory is that it kind of legitimizes a super crappy character, and there are a few pieces of evidence where I'm like, yeah, I could maybe see that, you know.
Honestly, after watching it again, I don't know. I think the theory definitely has some holes in it. Like, yes, like when you lay it out, like the people lay it out and you see the videos with him doing the things, like maybe, sure. I think the most convincing scene is the one where the battle droid actually turns his head to track Jar Jar, but that happens off screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like another thing where it looks like he moves his hand and does something with them too.
Yeah.
I haven't looked. I meant to look into the theory before we talked about this, but yeah, I would agree with you. Like I was thinking about it, like right when the Jedi first land. You know, like how implausible would it be for them to just like? There's no way that if Jar Jar Binks was a Sith Master or Sith Lord, that he could have planned it out that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It would just take like so much like, how did you know that they would end up on Naboo?
Yeah, exactly. How did you know they would end up on Naboo? How did you know they were going to be in that exact spot where you were, you know? Like,
Yeah, and it's like, you didn't even know really the reason why these Jedi were at the Trade Federation thing. Like, they didn't even know that they were going to end up on Naboo.
no, exactly. Like I said, I think that really the positives of it is that it kind of legitimizes him as a character. But other than that, no, it doesn't make a whole ton of sense. But I love theory crafting and stuff like that. Like, that's all interesting to me. So I like indulging in those ideas, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. No, honestly, I would have loved it. I can't tell you how much I would have loved it if Jar Jar Binks actually turned out to be like the ultimate fucking Sith Lord.
And if they had done it in such a way that you had no idea it was coming, but it made sense looking back, right?
Yeah.
But instead, he just comes across as this fucking doofus, right? Like,
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I was watching it, and we were watching it with subtitles this time, you know?
Not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, just some of the shit that he fucking says that you don't catch because he's a fucking bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so dumb.
I legitimately tune him out most of the time. Like, I don't think I could tell you a single line that he says, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's the how wooed, but that's like a catchphrase.
Yes.
That he says like 3 times. It's annoying as fuck.
How wooed.
Yeah. And at one point, I'm pretty sure he calls Padme hot.
What?
It's like so weird. Yeah, he says something about Padme being hot or something like that. And I'm like, in what context does he mean this? Like,
What
it's so
the
weird.
Fun.
Yeah, it's like when they first get to what's that planet with it's one big city?
Oh, Coruscant. Love Coruscant. That's actually on my notes, is how much I love Coruscant. But sorry, go ahead.
Coruscant, yeah. Yeah, Coruscant's a neat concept. Like, you would think, you know, since it is like the hub of like the Republic's control, that it would be one giant city, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just the New York of the galaxy, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like right when they get to Coruscant, and Annie and Jar Jar are going with Padme, and they're leaving the Jedi for the first time. Yeah, they're talking or something, and Jar Jar like mentions, how hot Padme is, and it's like kind of weird.
That's so strange. I'm going to have to try to find that scene, because Jar Jar should never be talking about anything sexually ever. Like, that's just super weird. And the other thing is they're like not even the same species, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah. No, it's super fucking weird. And I think just on the note, like, how fucking crazy are all of Queen Amidala's hairdos? Like,
wild. Like, whoever did the costume and makeup and whatever design for that, like, that's just crazy, dude. And they're hideous. Like, I think they're really ugly, personally.
Yeah, personally, me too, yeah.
but I mean, hey, you know what? If that's like the Naboo style, then they accomplished that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I don't feel like it's the Naboo style, because nobody else is dressed that way.
Yeah, even her, like, Admiral guy, he's just a dude in, like, a leather outfit, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. I don't know. I guess it's to maybe represent that, you know, she is the queen, and Tiara made a good point. Like, nobody dresses like the Queen of England either, so.
That's true. That's valid, actually.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Her body double doesn't really look like her at all. I mean, maybe with the makeup on, she does, but it's a stretch, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's something that I really noticed in this most recent watch through, is that Queen Amidala, like, her body double, her like supposed bodyguard, looks absolutely nothing like her. You can definitely tell when it's not actually Queen Amidala.
Oh yeah, 100%. I took note of that as well, actually. I was like, this woman looks nothing like Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. And when she's like, actually, I'm the queen, like, that was not really a surprise. Maybe it would be different upon if I had never seen it before, you know, but
Yeah.
didn't really come across as a massive surprise in the end.
Yeah. I think the first time I watched it, it was a surprise to me, but I was also a kid.
Well, yeah, and maybe again, like I said, like with fresh eyes, it would be different. Like, and at 6 years old, or however old I was when it came out. I think it came out when I was in grade 3, so 8. But anyway, like it would have been mind blowing then,
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I wish I could. I wish I could watch the Phantom Menace for the first time as an adult.
Me too. Just to kind of get an idea of it. Maybe I'll try to get Amanda to watch it.
Yeah.
She probably she'll fucking hate it. Maybe it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how weird it is that George Lucas starts trying to get like little kid Annie to hit on teenage Natalie Portman?
Yeah, that is so fucking weird. Like, he is obviously like 10 years old or younger.
Yes.
And like fucking Natalie Portman is late teens for sure.
For sure. Like 18, 19, maybe 20. That might be pushing it, but like it's a very inappropriate age gap,
Yeah. Like why did young Anakin have to be so young and Queen Amidala, like Natalie Portman, had to be older like that? Why couldn't have you made just like Anakin maybe a bit older or something like that?
That would have made a lot more sense story-wise too, in my opinion, right? Because, you take Anakin away from his mom when he's like even 13, 14. That's such an angsty time for a kid, right? So you take him away from his mom, take him away from everything he knows. He starts crushing on Natalie Portman, gets all weird with his angsty teenage feelings, and then becomes Darth Vader. Like, there's Darth Vader. Like, there's just so much more so many more options there to explore the character in my mind, rather than having it be like a 10-year-old,
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I don't know, maybe again, like, we don't know how much of the rest of the trilogy was flushed out before they made this movie.
True.
Like maybe it was never the intention for Padme and Anakin to be a thing. Like, who knows? But
yeah,
I don't know. It's definitely a little weird.
No, it's super fucking weird, and it's the age gap that's the problem. And the strange thing is that they could have caught it all up in the second movie, right? Like they could have had some youngish actor or actress play like a younger Padme, and then have all the age catch-ups happen in the second movie, which they do anyways, but they just age Anakin into like a 21-year-old guy, and it's like, okay, what?
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden Anakin is so much older and everybody else is the same fucking age. Like,
yeah, it's just weird, right?
And then Ewan McGregor has a beard, so he looks older, but
he looks much better with a beard.
Oh yeah, 100%. He looks way better.
Yeah, not even close. Ewan McGregor. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he looks way more like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Definitely, the beard makes it. Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, and the dude who played Palpatine really friggin' they carried this movie.
Yeah. No. Liam Neeson, I think, is probably the top performance of the movie. Like, just like his calm and just all of his, like, he has like the right amount of like kind of like funny lines almost, but not like intentionally funny. It's just, you know what I mean? He's like your ideal Jedi almost.
I was gonna say he seems so Jedi-y.
Yeah. Like he's on the level of like Yoda.
Yes, exactly. No, I would totally agree with that. He's just like the archetypal Jedi person,
Yeah, no, 100% agree.
Because even Obi-Wan, when he's a little younger, like in this movie, he's a little jumpy. He's a little, aggressive sometimes, right? Like he comes across as not the old wise Ben Kenobi that we know from the original series.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like even, he's like bad-mouthing Anakin, which like in hindsight was smart because Anakin turns out to be the biggest shit in the entire world, but
100%. But they grow so close,
yeah,
like throughout the series, right? Like I quite like their relationship throughout the movies.
Yeah.
But he was probably right in telling him, hey, he's a little bit old. Maybe we shouldn't be taking him back for Jedi training.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're literally going to kill the Jedi if we do this.
Yeah, like one of the best moments, like this is like not in this movie, but one of the best moments in like the Star Wars series is when like Obi-Wan and Anakin are facing off on that lava planet, and he's like, "You were the chosen one," and shit like that. Like that's so emotional for like a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it was great. The third movie's like by far the best one of this trilogy. But again, we'll get into that more.
Yeah,
more
definitely,
later on when we
definitely.
go. There's a point where Anakin like turns to his mom right as he's leaving, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll come back and I'll save you." And like at that point, you know that gif of Michael Scott, and he's just like, "Ugh." That's how I felt about it. That's exactly how I felt about that.
Yeah, like I'm watching that scene. I'm like, little do you know, is like this is the last time that you're really gonna talk to your mother until she's on her deathbed because she got captured by fucking sand people.
The goddamn sand people. I wish they would have made an appearance in this movie just for fan service. You know?
They did. They were shooting at the pod racers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. You're totally right.
Yeah. They're like shooting at the pod racers, and they're like cheering because they're like, "Fuck you, pod racers."
Why are you in my fucking territory?
Yeah. Just on the note of sand people, just like the latest Mandalorian episode and what they did with this, like the sand people, I thought was so neat.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't even watched the first one yet.
Okay. Oh no,
I'm giving myself a little bit of buffer because, like, I need content. You know what I mean? So
totally fair. You're gonna really like they fucking like hash out the characters of the sand people like so much in the first episode of The Mandalorian, season 2 of The Mandalorian.
That's wicked. I love that. It's kind of like in Knights of the Old Republic when you go to Tatooine and you have to go fuck up the sand people base.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you can choose not to fuck it up if you don't want to, but I always do.
Yeah, they're sand people. Like, I guess what like we see it. He's only in it briefly, and like, what's your thoughts on like the whole Jedi Council and like kind of Yoda's role in the whole like first movie? I guess.
I love my favorite point in the movie probably. Well, I don't know. It's kind of debatable, but one of my favorite points is when Yoda tells Anakin, "Fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to the dark side," or whatever the exact line is. I loved that. I thought that was wicked. As for his role in the council, I mean, you know, it's fine. I think it's cool. I'm kind of on neither direction on it.
Yeah, and like I think that's honestly something that I'm itching for that I wish kind of Disney would do. Like I know they were talking about it a little bit, but like I would love just like a Yoda origin story. Like why is he this powerful Jedi? And like again, they kind of hint at it in The Mandalorian when they say like with Baby Yoda, and they're like, people of this race just have these powers. It's like, does everybody of Yoda's race have like, are they force sensitive or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, are they force sensitive as a race kind of thing?
Yeah, because we do know, you know, that there are races that are just more force sensitive.
Yeah, they definitely cover that. A lot in the video games, and I think a lot in the extended universe for sure.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely love to know, again, why Yoda, right?
Yeah. Why is like, we'll get into it in the next one, but like another just like iconic fucking saber battle is Yoda v Count Dooku.
Man, he busts that shit out, and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we will get into it. But
can,
that shit blows my mind.
Yeah, we can't get into it too much because that's like one of the best parts of that whole movie. So,
but I think like as a setting up movie for the rest of the trilogy, you know, it did a vaguely serviceable job.
Yeah, definitely. Like there was some points where it's like, why are you doing this? But it gave you the whole context for that trilogy, right? It's like, okay,
exactly.
Like we found Anakin Skywalker, and like everybody knows, at least, you know, Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. So this is like basically the Darth Vader origin story.
We have moved the child from Tatooine to the Jedi training facility. Obi-Wan will eventually become his master. Qui-Gon is gone. We got some character development stuff. We have the beginnings of the love story with Padme, regardless of how fucking weird it is. And yeah, it's like everything's kind of being set in motion, right?
Yeah, definitely. I also, just one thing that I really do like about the movie as well is when they actually first all fly into space in that like last little bit of the movie where they're taking off with like the Naboo fighters, and they like they get into formation and they're doing their whole call out. I love it when they do that in like every single movie.
Me too. It's such a wicked like callback, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like it's definitely like a callback to like just that original fucking Star Wars movie, like Red 1 standing by, Red 5 here, it's like fuck yeah. Like
I love that too. I felt like they kind of ham-fisted Annie into the fight.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Just to like show how amazing he is.
Yeah.
And like the thing where the ship is like turning, like it's like spinning around and he's shooting the droids kind of by accident or whatever. Like again, I thought that was kind of ham-fisted, but I understood why they were doing it.
Yeah,
100%.
But that also kind of like lends a little bit of context to the Darth Jar Jar theory, right? Like, because Annie is accidentally killing all these battle droids, and Jar Jar does the same thing, right? When that gun's like gets caught on his leg, and he's like trying to just like cower and shit, but he's like killing all these droids,
Yes. That's a good point. I never actually thought about that. No, that is a really good point.
Honestly, I hadn't either until like just this moment. So,
God, I want the Darth Jar Jar theory to be a thing, but I just don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is either, to be honest with you. And the part that I think is just hilarious is when fucking at the very, very end of the movie, when Obi-Wan and Annie are standing there together and they have the fucking same hairdo. Like, what?
Who decided on that fucking hairdo, man? Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Like the little rat tail that's coming off like from behind their heads. Like, what?
Oh, it's hideous. Do you remember like people having that back in the day, man?
Oh, yeah.
It was always the weird kids who had it too. Like, it was never just the normies.
Yeah, it was just funny because, like, how, like, did you just sprout all this hair overnight? How did you get this fucking rat tail already? Like,
I know, it's so strange, hey?
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, overall, the movie ultimately does what it sets out to do, even if the execution is not amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And like, overall, watching it again, there's definitely some dumb parts. Jar Jar is just like atrocious, and I hate everything that he's in. But like overall, it's not a terrible watch. It's like the pacing's good. No. There's lots of action scenes, and so yeah.
It's. I thought it was very entertaining. Like it was a good way to sort of chew up a couple hours. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't pay as much attention to it as I probably should have because I was trying to work at the same time and stuff like that. But ultimately, I didn't find myself like absolutely hating it. I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. It's solidly in like the middle of the pack of the Star Wars movies. Maybe lower middle, but in the middle still.
Yeah, 100%. It's not the worst.
No.
I think we can all agree on the worst. Well, I don't know. We'll discuss that later. But it's not the worst. It's definitely not the best.
No.
It's just kind of there.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's totally middle of the pack. It does its job. And like some of the characters in it, I think really kind of what saves the movie a little bit, like Qui-Gon, like Darth Maul and shit like that.
Definitely. And again, very upset they never brought back Darth Maul. Because he was, again, arguably one of the best villains. And the thing that was so cool about him is that he didn't say jack shit.
Yeah, no,
he was like silent and strong.
Yeah, and he was scary. He actually looked scary. Like the red skin with the black and the horns. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, legitimately. I wish they would have gone more into the Zabrak, like peoples too throughout the movies, but maybe they will some other day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think, honestly, do you have any other thoughts? I think I've covered kind of everything I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think I've covered everything. Up next is Clone Wars?
Attack of the Clones.
Wait, no. Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting all my stuff mixed up.
So we're going into Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Cool battles. I think the writing is also not great, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
no.
see.
The last like half hour to 45 minutes of that movie is awesome, I remember, so I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Exactly. It's the Helm's Deep of the Star Wars universe.
That's like a perfect analogy for it. I definitely agree.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it for now. Hey.
Yeah. No, this was good, and I'm like after having this conversation and doing this first episode, I'm actually really looking forward to this whole series, I think.
Yeah, me too. I think it'll be wicked, and I'll try to find some time to watch it within the next week or so here.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do the same. It might be a bit hard, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Like I said, this was lots of fun, and I hope that all you people listening enjoyed it. And yeah, like we said, we're going to be exploring the Star Wars universe in depth, the movies, the shows, it all. It's going to be a good time. So if you're a Star Wars nerd like we are, hit that subscribe button, I guess. I don't know. I never do this at the end. Anyways, bye.
Bye.
If you like this episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away, why not leave a review? Whether you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts, ratings and reviews are huge. Help us to get through those Sith-like algorithms to reach the most amount of glorious Star Wars fans that we possibly can. If you would like up-to-date information on this podcast, check out our social media. You can find us on Instagram at In a Galaxy Not So Far Away Pod. If you're interested in some of the other shows that the Froggy Style Productions podcast network produces, check out their social media. You can find them at Froggy Style Productions on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For more ways to support the show, visit fsproductions.ca.